These are things you're going to need to know if you're going to play Exodia Millennium post Crossout Breakers. Keep watching to find out. Let's go.
If you truly want to know, open your mind!
Hey, what's up everybody? Andrew Godsmith here, Godsmith of Chaos, here with another Exodia Millennium video. This time I'm breaking down these cards and telling you things that you need to know in order to play this deck properly.
What's your plan?
Negate the person, destroy negate.
This deck isn't like all the other decks. It's not a combo deck. It is sort of like a pseudo Tenpai, but not really, because you really just need to summon out one big boss monster and just make sure you got some good tech cards, and that's it. So it's a deck that is really hard for your opponent to work around. It's really hard for your opponent to stop things because it works around so many different hand traps. It works around many different interruptions. But before I get to it, don't forget to hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel. It really means a lot. I'm on my road to 2,000 subscribers. I really want to keep making videos, so please subscribe. Anyways, let's get to the video. May the heart forever be in your cards. And don't forget, don't get obliterated. All right, let's go. All right, first off, we're going to talk about the cards that you need to play. That's right. Of course, you'll need to play the 5 pieces of Exodia. Of course, you would have to play the 5 pieces of Exodia. We have the head, right arm, right leg, left arm, left leg. Now, obviously, if you draw these, you're gonna win, but the chances are getting these 5 cards in your hand, you're never gonna do it. You can get stricken by lightning like twice before you'd ever draw this in your opening hand. So that is not the Exodia win condition. We don't have to worry about that. What we do need to worry about is that these guys never get banished or head to the graveyard. They stay in our deck or in our hand or on the field, but they never go to the graveyard. We don't want them to go there. So we try to keep them in the deck. So for those 5 pieces. Next, we're going to talk about one of the main summoners. So Sanganjin wakes from a Millennia. He cannot be destroyed by monster effects. There we go. You can only use each of the following effects of Sanganjin Wakes from Millennia once per turn. If this card is in your hand, you can place it as a spell or trap in the spell or trap zone as a continuous spell. While this card is a continuous spell, you can either 1. Pay 2,000 life points, or reveal Ankh, which if you have Ankh in hand, which hopefully you freaking do, there it is. You don't have to pay 2,000 life points. You just place that as a continuous spell, go, hey, look at this, I got Ankh, and then you special summon it. Now, in hand, to place it as a continuous spell is a monster effect, but while it's on the field is a continuous spell. Its summoning effect is a continuous spell, not a monster. So therefore, when all these Millennium monsters are placed in the back to summon, your opponent has a really hard time stopping them. They can't imperm, they can't Veiler it. Yeah, they can Ash it, but, oh, yeah, the Dominus cards now are able to stop it. But, hey, as soon as it summons, you then get to search. It doesn't activate again, it's just on summon, it gets to search. With Sanganjin, the card that you're probably going to search most often is Heart of the Blue Eyes. Unless you already have Millennium Ankh in hand, depending on which way you want to go. But Heart of the Blue Eyes is a beast of a card. It can be destroyed, but it cannot be taken and switched control to your opponent. Does it go to the field right away? No, you need to have your graveyard open. What it does is you just send it to the graveyard for free. You discard it, and you search. You add 1 Ankh to your hand. This is the card that helps you get around Droll. If you, in your hand, already have Heart of the Blue Eyes, discard, and then you get Ankh, Now, no matter what happens, it doesn't really matter. You have the card you need to special summon out your main boss monster. This honking big guy, the unstoppable Exodia incarnate. Yeah. This big guy, once you get him out on the field, all you got to do is use Ankh, then you reveal the 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bam. Exodia, Obliterate. This guy comes onto the field. The unstoppable Exodia incarnate has a questionable attack. It all depends on what your life points are. So, because of all our monsters that need to be summoned from the spell or trap zone, you have to spend 2,000 life points to be able to get them out on the field, unless you have Ankh in hand. Another way that you can get to do that, you don't really have to worry too much about life points, because once it comes back to you, I'll show you in a bit, you get 10,000 attack with piercing, so it's absolutely awesome. So you can go 2 different ways. 1 card starter, Sengenjin wakes you there, special summon it, pay 2,000 life points to get out Ankh, Shield, or Heart of the Blue Eyes, or Golem, whoever you choose. But to get out Ankh, you can get out Shield. Shield is sort of like Sengenjin when it can't be destroyed, but instead of monster effects, it cannot be destroyed by spell or traps. Big defense, 3,000, attack is 0. So obviously when you summon it, you want to summon it in defense position. Summon it on summon, searches you Ankh. 2 different ways. By doing this, you're already down 4,000 life points. We're using Sengenjin, Heart of the Blue Eyes, discard, you get an Ankh. While this is in your graveyard, if Ankh resolves and you have Exodia on the field during your opponent's turn, if Blue Eyes is in the graveyard, if your opponent special summons a monster that is either A, level 8, or B, has the attack of a level 3,000, attack of 3,000 or higher, you can send that monster to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon this card. Absolutely love that effect. Pretty much wins you games, because it's going to take your opponent a couple monsters, like some resources, to get out that level 8 monster or level 3,000 attack. Why do I keep saying level 3,000? He's reached 9,000. Anyways, when they have the attack of 3,000 or more, send it to the graveyard. Then you special summon it. Awesome. Next, if you have it, Golem, that card's Millennium Treasures, is another 1 card starter. Almost every single one of the main Millennium archetype monsters are 1 card starters. There's a couple other Millennium monsters. Anyways, these are all almost 1 card starters. These are 1 card starters. This one, you need 2 random other cards. 1 has to be a monster. So when you special summon Golem, pay 2,000 life points, special summon him, it searches you Yugioh Temple. What Yugioh Temple does is when you activate it, you can place 1 monster from your hand in the continuous spell, any monster, and then you place 1 monster from your deck as a continuous spell face up as well. So in this case, let's just pretend this is a random monster. Bam, with Yugioh Temple. Then you'd want to search probably Sengenjin, pay another 2,000 life points. You're down 4,000, but you search Heart of the Blue Eyes, discard Heart of the Blue Eyes, then gets you Ankh. Bam. You got 3 cards, and because Golem's on the field, Millennium Ankh cannot be negated. But in a mirror match, if you're going up against somebody that has Crossout Designator and you're going second, they can negate your Ankh because of rulings. So that still ends up working. Don't activate Ankh yet. You can use these 2, go into Scylla Hat Rabbit, get out your trap monster, Azrune statue. Yugioh Temple also has a second effect that if one of your Millennium monsters are destroyed, Heart of the Blue Eyes, you might not really want to go to the back, but meh. But for the most part, it's going to be these three. You can only use it once per turn. That if one of your Millennium monsters are destroyed by card effect, you can use Yugioh Temple and have it placed as a continuous spell instead of being sent to the graveyard. Battle included. So, quite beneficial. It allows you to have recursions, hopefully, for next turn. So it comes back to you. They've destroyed Sangenjin, you've had it placed back there, and you're able to at least bring it back. If you have Ankh, it's free. But yeah. Other tech cards, that's pretty much it for the main cards. Golem doesn't really have anything else, doesn't have any protection itself. It stops your opponent from negating Ankh, but except for that, it's just a 2000 beat stick, 2200 defense. That's about it. Now, another wonderful, wonderful tech in this card that has nothing, that's not part of the archetype, but if you have this on the field with Exodia and Exod, which is this guy right here, this with Exod and Secrets, that pretty much is a game winner right there. So if you have set rotation, terraforming, and you search Secret Village, and you activate it after you have Exodia on the field, during the end phase, Exodia sets Exod. What Exod does, it's a board wipe. It's an interruption on your opponent's field, on your opponent's turn, and it just completely wipes out their field. This card is always treated an Exod and Obliterate card. If you control level 10 or higher Exodium monster, destroy all cards your opponent controls. If this card is in your graveyard except the turn it was sent there, you can banish it, then activate one of these effects. You can add one Forbidden One monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, or shuffle up to 5 Forbidden One monsters from your graveyard and or banishment into the deck. So one good thing is that if you're going against Runic or something that does end up banishing your limbs, and this happens to be in your graveyard, you can banish it and return those cards back to your deck, which has came in handy and has helped me extend and survive for a bit longer. I can't remember if I won those duels, but hey, it is something that is kind of beneficial about this card. Everybody knows what Secret Village does. It locks your opponent out from using spell cards unless they have a spellcaster on the field. Obliterate Blaze. Now, this, Exod Fire's Rage and Obliterate Blaze, they're both for going first in a sense. So going first, when you have Exodia on the field, you search Exod during your end phase, going first turn, wipe your opponent's field. Then during your opponent's end phase, you search Obliterate Blaze, you set it, and when it comes back to you, main phase 1, just activate Obliterate Blaze, wipe out the Spell and Trap zone. Spell and Trap zones, not all Spell and Traps. So field spells get to stay, reason being because it does all field Spell and Trap zones. You have Yugioh Temple, or you have something on the field that you don't want to destroy as well, so it's in the field zone, not Spell or Trap zone. It's only Spell or Trap, not all Spell or Traps. Does that make sense? Anyways. Another good tech, because every single time that you use Millennium Ankh, all monsters on the field that aren't Millennium monsters or Exodia get shuffled back. So a wonderful, wonderful card that you can keep in your hand, like you can keep until your opponent's turn. Going first is Shifter, because your graveyard's most likely going to be empty anyways. When you pass turn, during their draw phase, bam, Shifter. They won't even expect it. Another neat tech I like in this deck, because it's also a hand trap and interruption, great for going second, is Bestial Magma. During your opponent's turn, while going second, you can search out Heart of the Blue Eyes during the end phase by banishing one of their monsters. Hopefully, if they're playing light or dark, where most of them, anybody that does link monsters and stuff like that, most likely will end up going into at least one light or one dark. And Bestials are good right now. If I had a Druis Worm, I would have it in here, but I don't have any Druis Worms. But hey, if somebody wants to send me something, comment down below. I'm having troubles finding Druid's Worms around here, man. Anyways, during the end phase, it searches you Heart of the Blue Eyes. I like it in this deck. It's just an extra monster on the field that also gets you Heart of the Blue Eyes. You can also play, instead of Bestial Magna Hut, you can play Melody of Awakening Dragon, Blue Eyes card, because what? It searches a dragon that has attack of 3,000, defense of 2,500, which is exactly a Blue Eyes monster, which is Heart of Blue Eyes. Who isn't really a Blue Eyes monster? It's a Millennium monster, but because it says dragon, you can search 2 Heart of the Blue Eyes. So it's pretty good. But I play it in the deck from time to time. If you have 1 or 2 of these, you already have like 18 ways to get the Ankh. Well, I guess that's including Ankh. So you have 15 ways to get the Ankh, plus 3 Ankhs, so you have 18 Ankhs. Add in Melody of Awakening Dragon, it gives you another way to get the Ankh. That's the whole main part of the deck. Like, you just want to get to Ankh as quick and as easy as possible. Yeah. Don't try to do anything special with this deck. Just try to focus on getting to Ankh. No need for all the bells and whistles. One thing that does work very well is the Seal Hat Rabbit in here. So you got the Seal Hat Rabbit. The Seal Hat Rabbit sets a trap monster, whatever you want to choose. Seal Hat Trick, I like as well, as it's not as fast as I want it to be because it's an illusion monster. When it does get summoned out, it stays on the field when your opponent attacks. It doesn't get destroyed. And when it is summoned, it can negate up the amount of illusion monsters on the field 1 card. And because the trap card would be 1 illusion, you can negate one of your opponent's cards that are face up. Seal Hat Rabbit, absolutely love it in this deck. Here's a sneaky little thing that I like with this deck. Let's say you brick and you have 2 limbs and 3 random other cards. So your opening hand looks something like this. 3 random cards that doesn't help you get into anything. Now you've bricked, you're most likely going to lose no matter what, unless your opponent has a crappy deck or something happens. But not all is done. There is other things that you can do with these 2 cards. You only get 1 normal summon, but if you have a Link Spider, that's where this comes in handy. So with these 2 cards, you'll normal summon a limb. I've done this numerous times when I've bricked and I normal summon a limb and my opponent just laughs and goes like, uh-oh, what? Like, what's going on? So what I would do with that is I would go into Link Spider. So Link Spider, yeah, it's in the graveyard, but hey, you brick, there's not much that you can freaking do about it. So Link Spider, and then effective Link Spider to special summon the other limb from your hand. Bam. And because it's a level 1 spellcaster, level 1 monster, Relinquished Anima, or you can play a second Link Spider, or Artemis, you know, whatever. Something that spellcaster and it's Link 1. Now I have 2 effect monsters on the field. You have some options now that you can do with these 2. You can go into almost any Link 2 monster. How many broken Link 2 monsters are there out there? I just showed you one of them. Seal Hat Rabbit. Seal Hat Rabbit does get you in. It can't be destroyed by battle, and it can get you out the Azaroon statue, which stops inherit summons, so it can stop your opponent from synchro summoning, XZ summoning, and Link summoning, which is wonderful for Malice decks and stuff like that as well. Or SP Little Knight. Awesome card. We all know what it does. It's one of the you must play this card in your deck. IP Masquerena. If you have a 3rd card in your deck on the field, if you have a 3rd monster and you want to go into IP Masquerena, you totally could, and then you would have another monster on the field. Bang, bang, boom. You can Link summon into a 3, and so on and so forth, but most likely not going to. IP Masquerena, I don't know what to put in there, but IP is another monster you can use. Azza, because most of the monsters are Earth that we have, but Dark the Dark Charmer, if you got one of the limbs, or even just go into one of the Link monsters, you can easily go into Charmer. I've gone an access code through this deck many times, and it's definitely got me some wins, and Superstar Slayer is a wonderful tech in this deck going second, because if all you have is the limbs and you need to go into something, you just link, you just normal summon it and you go into this. Bam, your opponent can't activate effects with monsters that are 3,000 or more, you know. So it really comes in handy. If you're playing Super Poly, most common Super Poly targets, Mud Dragon of the Swamp, if they're the same attributes, if they're the same attribute and same type, Garura, wonderful, wonderful techs in these decks. Now for the sideboard, side deck, whatever you want to call it, many things that you can play depending on where you play locals, but right now, some of the best freaking cards to play, Dimensional Barrier. If you're going against Ryzeal, or you're going against Mirror Match against this deck, you're going against pretty much anything that isn't Malice, because it doesn't do links. But hey, Dimensional Barrier is also always a great tech to have in your side if you can fit it. Crossout Designator. Now, at my locals, I potentially go against 2 other people that play Millennium or more, depending on where I play, either in Hamilton and Brantford. Unfortunately, we can't play in Brantford anymore, but I really like this tech in my side because it does come in handy. It can stop your opponent from using Ankh, and you pretty much just win. This itself can stop and win condition for this deck in mirror matches. Super Poly, for obvious reasons, Super Poly almost is like a must. You can main it or put it in your second, in your side, depending on what deck you're going against. Wonderful, wonderful card. Now, if you're going against Malice, or if you don't want to play Shifter anymore, and so many people that you go against just banish a bunch of cards, instead of Shifter, use Artifact Lancia. It is the anti-Shifter. Instead of banishing all the cards, your opponent cannot banish any more cards. Yeah, friggin' awesome card right now, especially going into this meta. And Charmy Perulia, most of the time only is going to get you 1 or 2, but what it does do is it slows down your opponent, make your opponent think, and make your opponent react and have to use resources to stop you. So, Charmy's Wall, we all know what it does. Also, I believe this is like a must in our deck right now, because depending, like if your opponent knows what you're playing, they're not going to extend too far with their summoning, because they know that if you're playing Exodia, your attack is your life points. So if they just keep going and going and going and let you get up to 20, 30, 40,000, they're not going to be able to stop you, because your attacks is so freaking high. And with Exodia, Obliterate Blaze giving the 10,000 attack, like, there's not much your opponent can do if they're giving you a lot. So they'll slow down and have to rethink about how many times they're going to summon. Another great tech in this deck Lockdown. It's just like a pseudo Droll and Lockbird. It stops your opponent from summoning from deck and adding to their hand, except for by drawing. So, and it lasts 2 turns. So if you don't want to play Droll, deck Lockdown is another way to go, or both. Like, heck, I really love that card. Regeki, old school, one of the best, right from the beginning, pretty much. Just overall great card. If you're looking to board wipe your opponent, because with Exodia going second, if you clear their board and you're able to attack directly with 8,000, you win. So yeah, those are the techs. All right, let's go. Draw 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What we got here? Oh, awesome. Look at that. So, got Heart of the Blue Eyes, 1 Ankh, 1 Limb. So, first off here, what I would do is I would take this guy, place him. Response? No. Okay. Reveal, special summon. Then I would get out the shield. Since I already have Heart of the Blue Eyes in my hand, I'd go for the shield. Then shield, same thing. Reveal. Oh, they ash. It stays right there. But let's just say it goes through. Bam, searches another Ankh. Keep that in hand for follow-up. Heart of the Blue Eyes, discard, searches, yep, another Ankh. Ankh is one of the cards that you like to have multiple in your hand. Reason being, because like if they do end up negating it, you just can play another one. But you have all three. 2 monsters on the field, Heart of the Blue Eyes in there. I'm gonna take these two, link them off into Seal Hat Rabbit. Effective Seal Hat to get the Azaroon, set the Azaroon. Then we're going to activate Ankh. So activating Ankh, we'll have to shuffle back Seal Hat Rabbit. Then we shuffle Ankh back into the deck as well to bring out Exodia. I like to put them up here. It just kind of ends up protecting these two sides. I for some reason, I just do. And then during end phase, activate effect to set Exod Fires of Rage. Board wipe your opponent. And then pass turn. Now what we got here, we have follow-up with our Ankhs. Then when it comes back to us, if they do board wipe us, we can at least get another Exodia out. If they add any monsters to their hand, we can draw and lockbird them. Then they can't add anymore. With Malice, I mean, they only do the one search for the spell, unfortunately, so there's not much we can do about Malice. But Droll is pretty good with the other decks. Heart of the Blue Eyes, another interruption that if they summon a monster, like I was saying before, 3,000 attack or level 8 or higher. One thing with the Malice players, they do summon a monster that adds attack to them on summon. Ends up being like 5,000 attack or something like that. They got to be careful because if they're not paying attention on summon, that monster has that attack. So Heart of the Blue Eyes can send them to the graveyard and you can pretty much win from there. On their draw phase, Angel Statue Azaroon, and you also have the board wipe. Then during their end phase, you would search for Obliterate Blaze, there B, and then during your main phase, activate that, set all 5 pieces in the back row, gives him 10,000 attack, pay half your life points, and it wipes the back row, just the spell and trap zones, and it attacks your opponent for piercing. Might as well keep that out. I'm going to summon it right away anyways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bam. Let's see. Oh, look at that. I mean, I didn't shuffle that well, but perfect. So here, Ankh, reveal 5 pieces. Get out Exodia. Terraforming. Searches you. Secret Village, sorry. Secret Village. With your giant spellcaster. Plus Ash. You pretty much win. Unless they can summon out spellcaster right away. Most of the time, you don't want to have this there because of Enema, but yeah. So if they get Enema on the field, then they can continue on, but, you know, depending on the deck, yeah. Do one more test hand, and then we'll call it. Because like I said, it's not a combo deck. There's not too much that you can do with it. you just want to get out your big boss monster and obliterate your opponent. I have made numerous people get very angry and very upset with this deck. Yes, because of Shifter and other tech cards, but doesn't every deck use the tech cards? Like, that's the reason why we play them. But made many people get upset, punch the table, rage quit and leave and go home. Yeah, this deck is awesome for that. Last test hand. Yep, pretty much. There we go. We don't even have to search at the end phase. So your opponent won't even know what you're setting. You just go, boop. You just set one, but they probably will know what you have if they played your deck or know before. Start off, Heart of Blue Eyes. Send. They ash it. Okay, well, no big deal. Place that. Pay 2,000 life points. Special summon. And now we get to search for Ankh. But as if we got the search anyways, let's just get the Ankh. This way. So if Blue Eyes went through, you place this, reveal Ankh, special summon, in defense mode, searches you your second Ankh. Still got the 3 cards. Activate Ankh, reveal the 1 piece in hand, the other 4 from deck. Then you'd shuffle this back. Here, I like to keep the shield on the field. There's not much we can go into anyways for Link monsters that are for a Warrior Link 1. So we're going to keep that on the field. But what we do have here, we have some pretty nice interruptions. During the end phase, or since we already have it, during main phase, we set the Exod. So here we have the send to graveyard and summon. So we have the removal from the field, spell and trap negate, and board wipe. Beautiful thing about Heart of the Blue Eyes is that it sends your opponent's monster. So going against Fire Kings, going against any deck that it has to be destroyed or banished or something like that, it just sends to the graveyard. Wonderful card. Anyways, that's it for the things you need to know, or things you know. So that's it for the things you need to know about the Exodia Millennium deck. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any other questions or any comments, feel free to comment down below. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to don't get obliterated. May the heart forever be in your cards. Love you all. Later.